Welcome to the Women in Business radio show with Sian Murphy, connecting women in business around the globe.
Welcome into the Women in Business radio show studio. And welcome, Laura, she's taking pictures. Hello, Laura. So my co-host this week is Laura Lawrence. Hello.
Good morning, Sian. Yes, I am taking pictures. I love taking pictures. This is one of my favourite spaces, so why not?
Welcome back into the studio. And our guest is Annette Rose. She is an author and spiritual anthropologist. Welcome.
Thank you, Sian. It's great to be here.
And it's so distracting, isn't it? Would you come back?
I'm back.
Author, and I think there's a new book coming out, or is it out already?
There is a second edition of the Feminine Protocol, which adds a little bit more about my COVID experience, which was it was so important for me to get that out. I thought, I'm going to bring a second book out. Why not just add it? So everything else in the book is the same, but there's an added quite a lot of pages regarding the COVID experience, and already I've had someone that I've helped through it who's got cancer, and she said, I am so pleased I bought your second edition because it actually helped me really take control of her emotion through it all. So, yeah, and she's actually getting really, really back to health again. So,
Annette, it's lovely to have you back into the studio, author of The Feminine Protocol. And also in the studio, we have the bookkeeping team, mother and daughter. I nearly said mother and father. Guys, and one of you's hidden behind the monitor. Could you move over a bit?
Yeah.
We have the mother and daughter bookkeeping team from AC Bookkeeping, Lisa and Anne. So welcome into the studio.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So I've got no idea what we're going to be talking about today. Actually, I'm looking through everything that Annette has done, and I've heard Annette speak as well. And so I really don't know where this show is going to go. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about feminine energy, how we bring that into our business. But I think we just need to sort of get going. So, Laura, have we got any announcements?
Well, like there's only one announcement.
There is only
actually.
one announcement, isn't there?
It's the big show on the 10th of August at the Longfield Academy. Now, for anyone who's interested in going along, we do have our current studio guests will be there, so you can go and actually meet them in person, get their autographs if you like, because they have been very good. Buy the book, exactly. I'm sure, Annette, you'll be doing signed copies, maybe.
Absolutely.
Who knows? Yeah.
Oh, what an excellent idea.
Yeah,
signed copies.
Yeah. There we go.
Author in residence.
I can't wait to see what their stands are going to look like once you've given them some crayons and a bit of paper. That's going to be super. But anyway, yeah, if you are interested in going along, then you just need to visit the Women in Business...
the Women in Business BigShow.com.
That's it, where you can find all the information. You can register, but you can turn up on the day, but it's nice to register because then you'll be issued with a badge and, you know, just makes it a bit more welcoming. But please turn up on the day, even if you haven't registered. There are also the VIP guests where you pay a little bit of money and you get extra bits and pieces.
Get a VIP badge.
A VIP badge.
So we've got some lovely...
And treats.
Yes, we have... Well, treats makes it sound like they're sweets. We have some really good sort of business, additional business tools for VIPs where they can spend a day with... an accountant sort of going through, looking at where their business is and, you know, do they want to, what's their exit strategy going to be, what's their biggest problem at the moment. They also get to spend some time with Zoe Cairns, who will be putting together a program for them to help them with their social media. So there's actually sort of a bit of, there's some key benefits to being a VIP. You also get to come along to the VIP opening.
There you go. So treats, you get treats for being in VIP, just as Sian has explained what they are. And I still think those are worthy to be called treats.
If she'd have actually written them down, it would have made a lot more sense.
I think spending time with Zoe is a treat in itself. You know, I think these are treats, and if we can't treat ourselves, you know, for bettering our businesses, then, you know, what's the world coming to?
And one of our other co-hosts, Adele Martin, will also be working be putting together a program for the VIPs to help them get stronger, basically. So Adele's going to be speaking at the event, but she's also going to be adding on something else, especially for the VIP visitors.
And I'll also be at the event, but I was trying to think of what my title is, but it's sort of like Sian's shadow is sort of one of the things I was thinking. Because you said you'd like another you.
It's no good you running around after me, is it?
Well, no, that's true. I'll be the one who does other things, but you said you need another you, and could I be another you?
Do you know, there's something
so I'll be Sian too.
Is there such a thing? I don't actually speak at this event. I don't speak. In fact, I don't speak much anyway. But I don't speak at my own event, and part of the reason is that I don't have the time.
No, it's too busy.
Another reason is that I'm not really a speaker. I'm an interviewer. So I don't speak at my own event, mainly because I'm working in the cafe. I'm organising people. I'm sorting out stuff that's gone wrong. I'm clearing up spillages. I'm arranging for tables to come backwards and forwards. And there isn't enough of me. So Laura is going to be
the other bits, but also if you do need any speaking done, you can allocate that to me because I love speaking. You know what I'm like. You can find me at some local events on stage as a compere. I just love speaking. It's what I do. I don't do numbers, but words, whether I'm writing them or speaking them. So yeah, But anyway, we'll both be there. It's going to be a great day. If you're looking for some inspiration. I'm have to wear a pinny.
Yeah, we'll need a pinny, won't we?
Okay, I'll put my trainers on there. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of work, but yeah, it's a
fun day.
It is a fun day and so inspiring. So do come along and put that date, 10th of August, in your diaries now. I think that's it then.
I think that's that. We've done that, haven't we? We've done that. So let's get back to Annette. Annette, tell us, give us a little bit of background about how you've got to where you are now.
Yeah, sure, because it is important for everyone to understand. My background was that I was originally very, very grounded jobs. I worked for Marks and Spencer's in office management for quite a few years, then had my children, and then I had my mortgage broking company as a partner. And one day, if you think about The Matrix, if you all know the Matrix film, and it was Follow the White Rabbit moment, something happened to me, and I was told that somebody was going to come and visit me during the night. And I thought, yes, whatever, okay, fair enough. And that's what happened. And I thought, this is weird, but this happened. So from that, I started to ask questions and about my life as well. And I say ask questions, it was myself I was asking them to, but my mind was opening. And then suddenly, one of these evenings when I was deep in thought and really going deep, why is this happening? Why? I felt as I was being persecuted within my mind. I couldn't understand what was going on because this wasn't the person I was, but I'm being persecuted for something else like in my mind. And a bad person and all those sort of things that we all go through at times. And then I was lifted out of where I was and I was facing a jury in a court of law, people in a court of law. And that's the very beginning of it. Now, over time, I spent time up there, going up there, and I've had so much information and wisdom that was being given to me. And it really, the bottom line here is that this court of law, which is in our psyche, it's a balance deep in our psyche, is there for any woman to go up there. I'm saying any woman because on my journey to going where I got to, there was a lot of men floating around, but no one was being able to pass this doorway, this next section, but I was. And I honestly began to understand that actually, this court of law is there for women because they've always believed that I'm talking about the masters that control everything, as in have a say in how we work, how we are, and to be there for us. They've always believed that the way we've had our lives on earth is what we like because no one's ever gone to them to complain or say, this isn't fair, this isn't right, what's going on. So they're assuming that life on earth for millennia has been fine. Because no one's ever gone that far. Now, at that point in time, I chose to want to come back and make sure that every woman that I can reach will have that opportunity. Because I teach, and in my books, I've got my journey, and I've shortened it for the interview, but the journey is in there. My life is in there, so it shows how it got to that point, and then what happened from then on. And there's just a guideline and a set of, I like to call it like an agreement. if you agree to a simple code of conduct, simple moral standing in life, you can actually access this frequency, and I say that with inverted commas because that's the only way I can describe it. It's a frequency within yourself that you can actually find all the answers you would ever need to your problems. And it is just a sequence of understanding, which now I've joined them as a master of it all, and I understand anybody that comes to me, I can go deep within them and find an answer. It's all conscious. There's no hypnotherapy going on, no anything. It's just a conscious discussion of what their problem is, and then I can help them find the answer, because it's just what they've said. Everyone knows what their problem is, but when they say it, they're not seeing what they're saying as a truth. I turn the truth around so they can understand it the way they meant to understand it. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's always is in what people say, and what they say first is always the answer, but you can't see it, so you're looking through it from a different avenue, and you can't really see what's going on. This is why I can turn it around, explain what it is, and the important thing for all of us is to find our purpose in life, which at the moment is so important. I mean, there's so much on YouTube, there's so much coming out of aliens and all sorts, and it's all, I've been given the answers to everything. I know it all, and that's not egotistical of me. I've just been given answers of wisdom. And so it's a balance between the matrix and the secret, if you know the secret.
Yes.
It really is a balance between those two. And because I'm such a down-to-earth person, I had to check it all out scientifically in my own way to make sure this wasn't just something that I'd happened to have tuned into, which, where's that come from? It actually makes sense. And that's it. I've made sense. What I've been told, what I've been given to know actually does work. And I've saved lives. I've helped people with cancer, deep depression, changed their life once and for all. Once they've got it once, they don't need to keep coming back to me. I've opened their mind up to a whole new perspective, which is the true perspective of humanity, of being human.
So I'm not sure if this works, because obviously this is a really complex topic.
It is.
And it's not something that we're going to actually be able to understand within the short period of time of this interview. So please forgive me if some of the questions that I ask are a bit daft or can't be answered. So the first one, I think, is your book is called The Feminine Protocol.
It is.
Is there a message for women or a feminine energy? Because I think not everybody that has a feminine energy is necessarily a woman.
No, that's right.
Is there a message for women that you're trying to share, that you need to get across? Is there a nutshell statement?
The nutshell statement is turning why into wisdom. And believe me, I have counselled just as many men that I have.
Can we just say that again? Because I thought for a moment you said wine, but I've now actually realised that you said that you said what, turning why into wisdom.
Why?
It's why. I thought
wine as well.
I could do that one.
There's probably. I try and do it nearly every night. Let me just try this. Why not?
That's where we're going wrong.
I might try that one.
Another hour and a half later, and I'm incredibly wise.
Absolutely.
So let's clarify.
Let's just why.
It's turning why into wisdom. And is that the why that I? So say if it was me, is that the why that I would ask? Why?
Yes, that is your question. That is that thing that's buzzing about in your brain that's keeping you awake at night.
Why am I doing this? Why am I here?
Yeah, what's going on? Why? There must be something more. But what on earth is it? Yeah, and funnily enough, it's just come to my mind to say. I did mention that I have counselled just as many men. I actually had, through my publisher, a letter passed to me that a prison not too far away from here, that an inmate of a male prison had written to my publisher to give to me to say, what an amazing book, you must keep up your work. And this was a man in a men's prison that had actually taken the time out to write to me. So my book's doing the rounds in the men's prison. It's amazing.
So it's not necessarily about gender. It is about...
Yeah, it's a feminine.
Okay.
Yeah, so feminine protocol generally is... Obviously, we've both got that, the feminine aspect. Men and women have got that feminine aspect. The reason I've said it, one thing, I'm a woman. And secondly, it's because through the ages, it's women that have been put down, and we've always been the ones to be emotionally, the ones that we've had to look after everybody else. It's women that need to pull this back, and that is in my book, that we have got to take a stand, make a stand, and if we do this, then it can be going, we can go forward.
So what is your key message?
The key message is read what I've said, listen to what I'm saying in the book. I'm doing talks all the time, so listen to what I'm saying, and it's a matter of quietening the mind down so that the sensibility, your senses can take on board what I'm saying. Be quiet when you can be. Listen and observe more than speaking, because the mind will always be able to snap back. But if someone's really telling you something, just listen and think about it with a different perspective, that everyone speaks from their truth, and it's their truth that they're saying this. So maybe there's something that we don't know about, but don't automatically think that they're trying to have one over on you or be nasty to you or whatever. It's calming the senses down. And because our intelligence, our emotional intelligence, which is our gift, is something that has been abused for so long, that now we need to clean it up, because we've been using our energy to get through life, to make things work for us. But at the end of the day, it's making sure whatever we're learning, whatever we're knowing, whatever we're talking about is going to safeguard the future of mankind, which is the children. This is really difficult now. I'm actually talking about it like this. It's really, and I can see your face going, what?
No. I'm not.
Get it. I do.
Actually, I'm not doing that. My eyesight is quite bad, so I'm actually trying to sit and I'm trying to just pick out a few bits as I'm writing it down.
It's a very simple answer, but it's a difficult subject, because you've got to disentangle all the emotions that we've been given. We've had to adapt. We've had to flow. I mean, even
all of the rubbish that we've grown up with,
yes,
that is there, we need to sort of put that to one side.
Yeah,
almost,
and it's how to do that. And this is the most difficult thing, because how do you change a lifetime of how you've been brought up, your lessons in life, what you've learned? It's making sure that they now come to use, not just to be hard, because we've all cut ourselves off from our emotion. We've all done it to survive, to carry on with what we need to be achieving. But it's a matter of, okay, now look at all of that with a different aspect. And I've always said, we already know, we're masters at knowing A, B and C as answers. I'm giving you D, which is something no one gets to see. And it's so important that we get this out there.
So this is a complicated topic. I think it's concepts that we're not used to hearing. It may be concepts that we actually don't want to hear. It may be concepts that people don't want spoken out loud. But I think it's quite difficult. And you're a businesswoman as well.
I am.
And so as businesswomen, one of the things that we're always taught is that as business people, is that you have to get your concept across really quite quickly. You need to have this nutshell statement. You need to have an elevator pitch. And I don't see that being easy for somebody like yourself to do. Is that one of the reasons that you wrote a book? Is the book your actually here's an explanation, here's something for you to have that you can get a little bit more information from?
Yeah.
Is that why the book is there, and is that where it's come from?
And I often think about it, that my book is my calling card. It's like a business card, and if you really want to change your life, literally change it in the way what you believe is your life at the moment is not it at all. Because you're being guided towards, everyone's got a purpose in life, everybody. And it's once you've found that true purpose, things won't be difficult anymore, because everything you're doing, you'll be heading towards what you're meant to be doing. Like you do interviewing, you love doing interviewing, and there's a reason for that. And it's who you're going to interview, it's the messages you're getting out. Somewhere amongst all of that are really important things that you're dealing with. But that is your purpose. That's why you do everything, because you're happy doing it. It makes you happy.
It does actually, yes, and in fact, it was a little bit of a journey to get here. And one of the things that I learnt is that I'm not a speaker, because I think it is that I don't know about all of you guys, but one of the things, and Laura especially, is one of the things that everybody sort of aspires to, and all of the books and the workshops and the training is all about how to speak in public, how to be a public speaker. And that's one of the things that I always saw business people going towards and trying to be as a speaker. And when I realised that I wasn't a speaker or a trainer, actually, you don't ever want to go into a workshop with me. All right. But when I realised that there were different types of speakers, and actually this was my role, is interviewing people and pulling stuff out of them that they may not otherwise share.
Yes.
Not because they want to keep it a secret. I would never do that, but actually pulling stuff out of them. So yes, you're right, and I do enjoy it.
Yeah. So you've got your purpose.
Yeah, but I landed. It landed sort of almost quite haphazardly. I think what you're saying is that actually you don't have to wait until something lands and you recognise it, and it takes you 60 years to get there.
Now there's a better way of consciously just thinking, what makes me happy? Like you've identified for yourself what part of speaking makes you happy. It's a broad concept. How can you do that? But you've identified it right down to what you truly enjoy.
As to what I'm good at.
So that's what makes you happy. So that is your job. That is what you're meant to be doing. And this is it with everybody, that there is always something that makes them happy, and that is their purpose in life. That is what they're meant to be doing.
So there's one question that I sometimes ask, and it goes with a second question.
Okay.
It goes to the second question. And I don't always ask them, but I'm going to ask them now. And in fact, I'm going to bring everybody in to ask this question. And and you, Laura.
Yeah, I'm listening.
And we're going to do one question first, and then we're going to come on to the second question, which is actually sort of related, I believe, to what you're saying, Annette. So it is, are you ready? What is your biggest failure? You first. Laura.
Listening to other people too much. And I think that's led me down a lot of difficult paths in the past, because I didn't believe in myself, basically.
So you listen to other people. Annette, what's been your biggest failure?
I think you've just hit the nail on the head. It is listening to people. When I first found out what I had, I'm talking to all sorts of people. I'm thinking, no, that's not where I am. I went to a spiritual teaching place over in Essex. There's a massive, and stayed there for a week, and I thought, these are all spiritual people, and that's what I thought I was. But it wasn't. So it was identifying exactly what it is that I do.
So initially it was that you joined groups, you went to places,
and found out that wasn't me.
I'm not sure that's a failure, but okay. Anne, what's been your biggest failure?
I think reading or listening to things and believing them immediately.
Okay.
I should do my own research, sort it all out in my mind, and believe it or disregard.
Okay. Is there a specific thing that you went and did as a result of listening to somebody else's rubbish? It may not be. No, that's not fair. It may not be absolute rubbish. It may just not apply to you.
Just something simple. I bought something which was total rubbish. Total
it wasn't
waste of time.
It wasn't one of those reading lights, isn't it?
It was actually a boom box thing.
A boom box?
A boom.
Oh.
We thought it was
I hope she didn't buy a boom box.
It was,
didn't tell me.
I was just wondering what it was.
I was replacing a boom box for Lisa.
Got you.
And I read all the hype on this thing, and I thought it was amazing. Lisa's one was probably 2 foot by 2 foot, and this thing turned out was about 2 inches by 2 inches.
So we've all had that, dear.
So don't believe everything you read. Yeah. Do your own research.
Measurements. You need to get the ruler out. Don't believe what they say. Lisa.
Biggest failure. I say failure, but I think it's held me back before, is not having the confidence and belief in myself to just go for it. And, before I'd maybe overthink things and, just take a long time to make a decision, when sometimes, yes, you do need to do your research, but sometimes you just need to just jump off the board and do it. Okay. And it's held me back a few times. That's probably mine.
Actually, can I just jump back in here? Because talking about the failures, you're right, it was just finding out what I'd said. But I trusted people when they knew about things, and it's that trust, because I'd understood what trust was. I was letting anybody that was saying you need to do this, and it was setting up a website. It cost me a fortune to do, and it wasn't right, because what I do needs to be spoken about in the first instance. So anybody just reading about it doesn't. I'm just the same as everybody else, and a website was expensive. I think this is not working, so I shut it. I mean, I'm not saying they're not useful, and maybe as things go on, it might be useful, but I'm going to be more into the YouTubes and stuff like that.
It wasn't at the time. You took advice from somebody.
Yes. Oh, you need a website to go with your book and everything else,
and you didn't. Yeah. Okay. And I would agree with that. And I build websites.
It was too soon.
You need to think really carefully about it, because there are so many other platforms of choice. There are so many other different ways that you can do this. And building a website very often is just not one of them.
No, it's...
an e-commerce website can cost you goodness knows how much, whereas you can go and set something up on Shopify for 30 quid and you can try it free for 30 days. And I tell you what, that is enough. That is enough for you to test whether your concept works and people will buy it. Don't go and spend thousands on setting up and managing an e-commerce, a WooCommerce site. But when you don't even know if the stuff's going to sell. Does anybody want to buy it? Go and have a free trial for 30 days and spend 30 quid. And then when that isn't big enough or good enough, when it no longer works, then say, okay, right, well, okay, what else is available to me now? I've got proof of concept. So,
that was it.
So do you think that's an issue with trusting people? Because now we're encouraged, aren't we? And I'm going to get a bit philosophical here now. Everybody's good. Everybody's good until they see otherwise. Everybody's wonderful. Everybody's got our best interests at heart. Everybody's really nice. Actually, sometimes they're just not, are they?
No, they're not. And this all comes down to, it's like having a trust in yourself more than them. And it really is what feels right. I mean, people I'll still trust them, but I'm trusting their inner soul, if you like, their inner part of them. I'll trust that. And then what I've found, not that it really helps me so much, but if someone has actually just spoken to me to get a business, to get something out of me, to whatever it is, something not very nice happens to them, but that doesn't really make it nice. And I just get to hear, I wonder if that was something because, I mean, literally, it's been like that for a number of years now. It's too many coincidences that things that aren't very nice have happened to people that have abused my trust. So that's all part of it.
You have been warned.
I think it's, I don't want to get too philosophical, but I think if you try and fiddle enough people, and if you do that sort of thing, and if that's where you come from, you are going to get caught and stuff is going to happen. It's just, I think that's what they call karma, isn't it? And I just think it's a result of what you've done. You've done something not very nice. You've done it to a number of people, and eventually somebody's going to punch you on the nose, or the equivalent of. Anyway, I want to get to the other bit, which I think is a little bit more relevant. I'm off on one of my tangents, which is, so we've done what's your biggest failure. Now we're going on to what's your superpower. What's your superpower?
My
Laura.
superpower is talking.
Okay.
I suppose words, and it's for me, I just seem to be able to connect very well with people. A lot of people think I do that. What's that positive thinking? And I'm not trained in it at all, but I just have a way of, I guess, bringing out the best in people. That's my superpower through words. But I just make connections with people quite quickly, and I just see sort of great things that they don't see. So yeah, that's my superpower. It's nice.
I'm coming back to you, Annette, actually. What's your superpower, Anne?
I think being a team player. Now, in both aspects of my life, my family, love having them all around, and lucky enough to work with my daughter. We're a good team and we trust each other.
Lisa, what's your superpower?
I think for me it's connecting with people. I like to connect with people. I like to find out about their stories and find their whys and their journeys, and in life with friends, family, and in business as well. I just find it fascinating, and I just love understanding why people do what they do. And I feel like I do connect with people on that level.
Annette, what's your superpower?
Well, this is a twofold answer. My children just always are totally amazed by if there's a problem going on somewhere, if somebody wants something, I just make it happen. And when I mean that, I don't mean that making it happen.
Not like James Bond.
No.
You're not sweeping in with
But I will find a solution quickly and make something work, no matter what it is. Right, let's think about this. And I've always got this on our family chat group. It's just do it. If I'm, oh, Mum, I don't know about this, just do it. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't do it to what you wanted. You've got that experience. If you're always in that grey area of, oh, shall I do it or shan't I? Just do it. And that is always my final word. And I say, okay. So that's that. But with people, it's that what I love to do, I can stop the torment in their minds. And that is my superpower. I give them an answer that they've never heard of before that will stop that torment that keeps them awake at night. And it will make sense to them, because we've all got the gift of knowing, but we don't know how to translate it. And that I decipher what they're trying to tell themselves. I can decipher that. So that is the wonderful thing. When someone comes in, you can tell they're anxious and they're fraught. And by the time they're going out happy, because they've found answers they never realised were there. But they had the answer, they did not know how to decipher it.
So you can sort of unpick.
That's right.
And reveal what's going on, perhaps behind the external troubles that people are bringing.
That's it. That's great. Great way of putting it.
I want to talk about your biggest failure, because I think there's a lesson in there for everybody to learn. And it was about your stand at a Mind, Body, Soul exhibition.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Which sounds...
It was amazing. I loved it.
It was at Alexandra Palace. It sort of sounds expensive.
Oh, it was.
Yes. And you had quite a big learning around that, didn't you? The reason I'm interested in it is it's the sort of thing that I think you could also, I say you, a person could have gone two ways with that. They've invested a lot of money and time and potentially anxiety. There they are, they're up there. It's quite a big deal. Things didn't go entirely as was expected, and I think it's the sort of thing you could either have scuttled off and gone, oh my goodness me, I'm in the wrong space, I'm doing the wrong thing, whatever, or you can regroup and grow. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what happened and why you put that down as your biggest failure.
I'm saying it was a biggest failure. It was from a physical point of view, because I never took up.
Do you mean physical and financial?
Financial, yes. Okay. From a financial point of view, it would have been an absolute failure.
Yeah.
Seen as that. But I don't run in that world. My thoughts, my understandings come from a bigger perspective. I knew I had to do it because all the green lights were there to do it. And I loved every minute of it. I loved talking to people, and people were coming up and they was doing interviews with me and all sorts. And it was counsellors coming to me, it was Reiki masters, it was readers, it was all sorts of women and men coming to me saying, oh, this is great what you're doing here. And I had leaflets all done, like you were saying, have all the leaflets done, I've got everything done to do with what I was doing. But they were all coming to me and giving me this message, actually, just on a confidence basis. Things aren't going too well at the moment. I'm finding that I haven't got so many clients coming, or I can't seem to, I just haven't got that edge, there's something missing. And each one, and I thought, oh really, and we was chatting, and then I'd go on and someone else would come up, and I hadn't taken it all on board until it was closing and literally packing up, and I'm thinking, there's something going on here. So whereas I've got lots of people's emails, addresses, I was going to go and do dinner parties at that point in time and start being guest speaker at dinner parties, yoga studios. I had but I thought, I've got to start, I can't do this. There's something I haven't found the answer to. And this, as I said, I've spent 30 years finding answers for everybody, not just me. I wanted to make sure I could pull people out. So I didn't do it. I didn't further anything. I just went very deep within and thought there's another level here that I haven't picked up for other people.
So before you went to this, before you sort of paid your money, what did you think you were going to get? Why did you pay your money to go? What did you think was going to happen?
My honest answer to you, I didn't know. I just
Right,
knew
oh,
I had to
okay.
be there and had to do it, and it looked amazing. It was the best stand at the show. Everyone was taking pictures of it the way I'd put it out. Then it was beautiful. Everyone was stopping and saying, "This is amazing." I think, I don't know what I'm doing here yet. What am I going to do? So I just slept on it. I just talking to people. Then it came to me, oh, you can start doing dinner parties. You could start getting the word out, because that's what I wanted to do, to start talking in groups, talking to more than just a client. It was more, and that, I thought, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start saying, oh, actually, I'm doing dinner parties. And, oh, yeah, I'd like that, yeah. And, you know, I've got a yoga studio. Would you come and give a talk? Yeah, I'd love to. And I'd got this, like, 2 or 3 pages of email addresses that just that simply to contact them when I was ready to do it. But for one thing, that all the pages, there was a massive gust of wind, and all the pages ended up in a muddy puddle, and literally you couldn't make it up. You could not make it up. I thought, well, that isn't a sign, so stop. You've learned enough. You've learned what you needed to learn. So then that took me on to the next level of thinking, what have I learned then? What is it that I've learned? Because there was something wanting to tell me that there was something more, and it was because there's this other level, because we've always been told the way we've all been growing up with religion and gurus and stuff like that. There's another level that needs to be accessed right from the source, which is being stopped, and that's what I've got. But no one else can reach that. So to go back, take that on board, and start creating another pathway, which is what I did.
So the message,
I spent all this money.
Yeah, so the message is that this could have, if you hadn't have perhaps taken a step back and thought about what you'd learnt, it was a financial disaster. You'd gone there and you hadn't got any clients.
Oh, yeah.
End of story, away we go.
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of money, a lot of time.
Absolutely. I was ridiculed.
Nothing.
I can't even tell you. But I'm not bothered. That doesn't bother me, because I know.
You were ridiculed. Who by? Right, one of them. This is the radio, though. Let's just say it was a member of her family.
Yes.
So ridicule from a member of the family.
Yes.
Is he still a member of the family?
Just
hanging on.
But yes. So
Okay.
there's, it didn't bother me. That's my point, because I've got confidence
I think
in me.
so many people, I'm not going to say so many women, because I don't know about it from the other side. I can only say what it's like for me as a woman, and I have never suffered, I've never had to deal with that, but I know so many people who, your business isn't working, you're wasting your time, it's this, it's that, you'll never get any clients, you haven't got any clients, you're spending too much money. And it can be, I've worked with people, and it can be really tough to actually fend that off, can't it?
It can be, and I honestly do believe that he is a perfect person to be with, because he keeps me on my toes.
So he challenges you.
Absolutely, all the time. And and this is how I know what I'm talking about, because his whatever he says goes straight
Actually,
over.
that's a really interesting take on it, isn't it? Because we are going to come across people who do that.
Yes.
It could be that they're in our family, it could be that they're friends, it could be that we've never met them before, but they are going to challenge us, and perhaps we need to be challenged, and it's our response to that challenge. And if you can sort of stand in, if somebody challenges you like that, and instead of crumbling, you go, actually, hang on a minute. No, I'm standing in my power here because I'm right.
That's exactly it.
You don't have to be an idiot about it, do you?
No,
just forge ahead regardless. But if you're right and you're challenged and you have that robust stance that you feel confident taking, it's good
and
to be.
And you need to have that, because when you go out and face anybody talking about the subject I'm talking about, I do stand firm, because I've got the biggest teacher indoors.
Yes.
Whatever. No, you're entitled to your opinion. That's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but it is down to that very saying, know thyself.
Okay.
And when you know yourself inside out, when you really have done that, nothing could shake you.
Let's talk about moving this forward into your book and writing your book.
Yeah.
That sort of needs your big girl pants as well, doesn't it? Because you're going to put yourself out there.
Absolutely.
And number one, you might write something wrong. there might be spelling mistakes. There could be all sorts of things that would go wrong with it. But also, you're quite likely, just simply because you've done it, and this applies to anybody. I'm not talking about your particular topic or subject, but just because you've done it, at some point, it's quite likely somebody is going to give you that 1-star review on Amazon and go, actually, I can't make it any lower, otherwise I would have done. And I've seen some what I consider to be fantastic books with the most terrible reviews. And I think you need to be really quite sturdy to be okay with that and to come back. How was that, writing that book for you? How did that feel? And also I want to get a little bit of the process that you went through.
Okay. Writing the book, it was a moment in time. I thought, right, now I'm ready to channel everything, and I say that word, through my book. I was just writing it. Hours up in the night doing it. It was a natural
Did you handwrite it?
No, on the computer.
Right, okay.
On the computer. Which is great considering I hate computers and anything to do with technology, but I managed to do this. So it was my truth. And it doesn't matter. Anybody can say whatever they like. This is my truth. And I know I've done this to help others, and I know it works because I've had many years of people where I've used this.
Are you saying it didn't actually matter what anybody said? It didn't matter whether you got any criticism?
You've got to have that conviction.
It was your... And I think, can we take this over to, say, fiction as well? It doesn't matter because there isn't a right or a wrong because it's yours.
Yes.
It's your truth. And if you write, if it was fiction and you wrote a rubbish story, it's still your story and your truth, and you just have to own it. Yours wasn't fiction, but you just had to get through it. It needed to be done. You needed to put it down on the paper, and it didn't actually matter what anybody said because it was yours.
That's right. And the point being is that if someone actually does buy the book and when they've read it, I've had so many people say to me, oh, do you know what? I was crying my eyes out because I was identifying. And this is the point. It's identifying with what I've written. So the link is there. And so when I've gone on from there, I'm showing how it was, how I've got through it, and how it's now blossoming. And in there, I'm asking every woman that's got a gift of anything that they can help with, please let me know. Because let's get together on this. We need to be bringing this new energy, this new wave energy, if you like. And it's not a religion, but it's a new way of being. Spiritual anthropology, universal law is the actual bottom line. And it's making that come across. It comes before any religion, anything else. There is a common code. And that is all that's necessary to be human.
Well, religion is something that... It's been made, isn't it?
That's right.
It's like a police force, except it's
it's ground rules,
except it's in a church
by humans.
Yes,
which is okay, but it's not okay because whoever wrote it. Well, I've actually gone into this in the book. I've taken it right back through the millennia. I've taken it right back to Moses, to Adam and Eve. I've taken it right back to say this is what was said, but that's not what was meant. But it was that. It was accepted as though that was the viewpoint, but there's another version of a viewpoint which wasn't said, which is why we've always just accepted a secondary role.
It's the way a lot of people are brought up, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Let's come back to some of the more practical aspects of it, because I think there may be some people listening in who, for them, what their why is, they also need to, it's not the sort of thing that they can have a quick conversation with at a networking event. They actually need to create something that has a depth to it. And it's more of a conversation. What were some of the sticking points? What were some of the practical things with getting your book out there? So there it is. It's in the computer. I mean, that's tricky enough, actually, isn't it? There it is, but it's in there. Was it in there as chapters, or was it just a spew of words? How did it go from that into the book?
Yeah, I actually did write a book in 2011, but I realised that was just for me. I just needed that for when I do start writing about it, because it was very condensed and I was using words that probably weren't the right words to have used, but it was flowing. So I'd already written, so I had that experience. That's my point of writing. It was probably published, but I published it, had it printed, and I just kept them all, and I've still got a lot of the copies indoors. So that was fine, but that was on a different wavelength. This was more to do with of wanting to get the message out there. Now, you said to me, you've asked me, did I do it in chapters? Yes, I did. It was a subject. This was a subject. So that was that chapter. And then I'd go on to the next subject. Then I'd head that and then on to the next chapter. I suppose anybody that wants to write will have their own way of writing and what works for them. But if you're going to have someone, I had an editor, the publisher and all that, they done it, but there was nothing they could edit it because I'd already done it. I already had it the way I wanted it. I didn't want someone to come in and alter anything. So it was what it was, and that was it. There wasn't much wrong with it. So it was just a natural way. Right, that's that subject dealt with. Now the next one is this, and then I'd bring that in, and then yes, I've got to. That's the only thing. I've got to write about that as well, and I've got to put that in as well. Those things were a bit strange, but once I'd got the flow going again, it was automatic. It was an automatic flow.
So how was the book actually published?
This time I contacted a publisher this time and spoke about my book to them. They said this is a good book. I did try years ago trying to get someone interested in it that would publish it for me, but it was too wacky. It's way out there, and so I didn't even bother. I just thought, someone said to me, you need to self-publish. I said, what does that mean? I didn't even understand what that meant. So I learnt about what that meant. I thought, that way no one can stop me. I can write anything I like. No one's having the word on, you can't say that or you can't do that. And I didn't want anyone telling me what I could and couldn't write about. So I just wrote it myself, and that's it.
Do you know, I think that needs to be the starting point when you're trying to get your voice out there. And you're making a decision about, is that going to be a book? Is it going to be TV? Is it going to be a radio show? Are you going to be speaking? Are you happy for somebody to change your stuff or tell you what you can and can't say?
Yeah, I know, because it changes the dynamic of what you're saying. And even to the point of when my publisher was writing about the book, I said, that's not right. What you've written, it changes totally. It changes the level that I'm writing it from. So scrap that, I'll write it myself.
Yeah, you see, I don't speak for other people because it's their time scale. I have to stick to their topic. It's out of respect. You just do. You have to stick to what it is that you've agreed that you'll speak to. It's in their venue. You have to send through stuff beforehand, and I don't want to do all of that. I'm no good at it, for one thing. I just stand up and off we go. So I don't do it. And I think so really what you're saying is you identified what was going to work for you as far as how you wanted it to be, and what your boundaries were. And for your boundary was, you didn't want an editor coming in and going, well, actually this will sound better if you do it this way.
Exactly. That's what was happening.
And so that is what it sort of informed or set the structure for how you published your book.
Yes, absolutely. That was word as far as I was concerned. No one's going to override my words that I know are the words to be used. It wasn't coming from a commercial point of view. That's my point. It never was a commercial enterprise. I didn't do this for the money. I did it to get the message out there.
What about cover? So how did you come up with a cover? Did you use a designer? Yes. Did you do it yourself, or is it just words?
Always,
words.
No, I've always designed everything. Okay. I can't let anyone else. I'm like that, I'm afraid. It was just, this is my baby. I'm going to clothe it in the clothes that I want to give it. No, I bought some paintings years and years and years ago, 30 odd years ago, on a beach in Crete. I just bought the whole lot, whatever his total collection this guy was doing, because they were all so magical. I loved them. And I actually have trademarked one of them. I tried to get, there was no one there to come say, I'm doing this, because I bought it. I have altered it slightly. But that took a snapshot of that. That's what I wanted for my front cover. And the colours, the turquoisey blue, I liked that. Funny enough, the second book is orange and yellow hues. It's bright. It's a totally different vibe.
So you have complete creative control.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay. I think that's a really good sort of thing to end on there is make a decision about what you want, and if you need 100% creative control, you need to take that and own it, don't you?
Absolutely. And I was quite happy. They come up with. They did send me a thing. I said, "What have you sent me? What's this?" With the second book, and I said, "No, I don't want you to do anything. I'm doing it. This is what I want. I don't want you to create something because you think that's going to... No, I'm sorry. And if it doesn't work, it's down to me. And I've taken ownership of that. I'll own that. If it doesn't work, I'm prepared to own that."
And I think that's the next key thing, isn't it? If you are going to do that, it's up to you. Annette, how can people get these books? Where can they find them? How can they get in contact with you?
Right. Amazon is the best way. They've got them on there. Actually, I've noticed on the second book, which is... I only looked at it last night. For some reason, the price is ridiculous. And I've emailed my publisher last night as soon as I saw it and said, what is going on? Because they've just been controlling all of that. But I've noticed that was way up there. But if they just get the original book, there's only a little bit extra in there, as I've said. But the second book, people have bought the second book and said it's amazing.
So it's the Feminine Protocol.
It's the Feminine Protocol.
Rose.
Annette Rose.
On Amazon.
On Amazon. And there is a first and second edition. And that is it. And in the book is my email address. But if anybody wants to contact me, can I give you a phone number?
Yeah.
0751 66 33 767. That is my personal number. Or you can text me if there's something that you want to make an appointment to see me, whatever. Just text, that's fine. But I'm always there to help.
Brilliant. Thank you. Annette Rose, author and spiritual anthropologist, thank you so much for being our guest today.
It's been great. Thank you so much,
Also in the studio
Sian.
Contributing, Lisa and Anne, co-owners, founders of AC Bookkeeping, or Bookeeping at one point. Thank you to my co-host Laura. Lovely to have you back into the studio. I'm Sian Murphy. We will be back very shortly with the Women in Business radio show, so thank you for listening. Thank you.
Tune in next week to the Women in Business radio show for more stories, ideas, and inspiration to help you grow your business.